Margaret Brennan was inside the briefing room. She is at the White House. So, Margaret, President Obama covered a wide range of topics from U.S.-Russia relations to voting rights. What stood out to you?
Well, Elaine, President Obama was very careful with his words, but he really was issuing a soft warning there to Donald Trump, saying, while I look forward to having a private life and not being president any longer, there are a few things that would bring me back out to speak out. Some of them that he characterized as America's core values. And he read off a litany of things that I don't think it was coincidence happened to also match many of the things Donald Trump threatened to do on the campaign trail. Namely, President Obama said if if immigrant children were forcibly deported, those who would be covered under his so-called DREAM Act, he'd speak out. If there are severe restrictions on the press, on dissent, he would speak out. Also said systematic discrimination, which he then specifically referenced as voting rights discrimination, is something that would bring him back out from private life to speak out. And that's notable because in the past, President Obama has said that he appreciated that when he took office, President Bush really was quiet and allowed him the space to take the office and make it his own. But President Obama, while he has said he'd like to do that, was very carefully underscoring to Donald Trump, here are a few things that we are watching very carefully, and I will come out and use my bully pulpit that I guess every former president still has in some way if you cross those lines.
On another topic here, Margaret, President Obama was also asked about his decision to commute Chelsea Manning's sentence. What did he say about that? And describe for us how much criticism there was in Washington after that announcement was made by the president.
Well, there was a slew of criticism, particularly from Republicans. House Speaker Paul Ryan said it was outrageous. John McCain, who is a very vocal voice on the Armed Services Committee, which is really closely aligned with the military in many ways, and overseeing them, hit back saying this was a major mistake. We know that the defense secretary himself, who works for Mr. Obama, opposed him and said to him, you shouldn't do this. The concern surrounds what kind of message this sends to other individuals who leak secret or classified national security information about the United States. Remember when Chelsea Manning carried out these leaks back in 2010, State Department officials said this put American lives at risk, this put American assets at risk. And then yesterday, President Obama said, well, Chelsea Manning appears to have learned her lesson, has expressed remorse, and because of that, those 6 years served are enough. And today he added to that further, saying, look, it's not like Chelsea Manning didn't face any consequences. She has. And really, a 35-year sentence, in his view, was unduly harsh.
And Margaret, during President Obama's remarks at the outset, it was interesting to hear him talk to reporters in the room, considering our viewers may not realize, but this has been an administration that has vigorously pursued leak cases to the extent of which other administrations have not gone to. At the same time, the president expressed his appreciation for reporters at a time when the incoming administration has been discussing the proposal of moving out the media. What did you make of that? Do you think that was a message, essentially, to Donald Trump on the part of President Obama?
It was, but you're 100% right to underline some of that irony there. President Obama said, you know, your job as journalists is not to be sycophants, it's to be essentially paid skeptics, hold people to account. That's part of you being the functioning part of a democracy, to information being really the currency of a functioning democracy, and you're the conduit for it. So it was sort of a reminder to the press, stay on it, with Donald Trump, who has vowed to push back. And not just push back, but open up libel laws, he said, to be able to legally sue journalists, take action to really quash dissent, as it's been characterized by President Obama. So that's what he was referencing. But you're right, you're pointing out that, I mean, and just yesterday this was underscored in one of the pardons that President Obama undertook. He pardoned a retired General, James Cartwright, for lying to the FBI about leaking information about a cyber program that the U.S. has and had carried out against Iran. And that was a case that the Obama administration vigorously went after in terms of trying to get the journalist who reported about America's cyber program to reveal sources. This was also something that journalists at other networks and at other papers had experienced in terms of pressure to keep confidential secrets confidential, whereas this reporting out, they would argue, is in the national interest. So I think what it underscores, Elaine, for all of us who work in journalism is that it's always going to be somewhat of a combative relationship with whomever is in the Oval Office. It's just whether that turns into trying to quash that dissent or perhaps use some of that criticism to illuminate issues that the American public should be informed about and should be debating, even if it's not convenient to the president making the decisions.
All right. Margaret Brennan on the North Lawn of the White House. Margaret, thank you.